Hello friends, welcome to the channel, and today we want to talk about UTF-8 String Literals. What is UTF-8 String Literals? Is a simple feature that is coming in C# 11, but since the first time that the .NET team talked about it, it changed a lot. So most likely, if you have seen anything about it, it's probably outdated. Let's take a look. Okay, so probably you know this blog post already, where Microsoft announces what is coming in C# 11. One of those things is UTF-8 String Literals. If we take a look into the article, we will see that this feature is mostly targeting web scenarios. Why? Web is UTF-8, while C#, when you write a string, internally is using UTF-16. So there's a lot of conversions under the hood that if you want performance, you most likely will write some code that will not be that readable or will be really error prone and will be difficult to handle it. And it's those things that we'll be looking at today, but not only that, but everything that has changed since this version until the current version that most likely is coming late November. Okay, to do it, let's use our friend Rider, and here I have a simple project with XUnit. Okay, it's just some unit tests. I like to show things using tests. So first thing that I want to show you is basically how do you handle those kind of things nowadays. So imagine the following. So before C# 11, if you want to, for example, pick a string, get the UTF-8 bytes of that string to set on another or something like that, you will use something like, okay, so before C# 11, get bytes UTF-8 from string, okay? So what we'll be doing is defining a bytes variable, okay? Then you'll likely use system.text.encoding.utf8 8.getBytes, and then you set your variable here. Okay, I want your value. I want ABC. So what will happen is that those bytes will be equivalent to an array where you have the 65 for the A, 66 for the B, and 67 for the C. Okay, so internally this is what will be returned by this. Okay, so imagine that you have this is a constant, and you want to make this more efficient. So you want to optimize this thing and avoid this call to the get bytes. What you'll be doing for sure, and for example in the ASP.NET code you will find this a lot, is that you'll be using the optimized version, and here instead of doing this you will likely be using something like this. So you will know that since this is a constant ABC, you convert it to the bytes and use the bytes to be more efficient. But by doing that, and let me know that this is exactly the same thing. So to do that, we can simply go to our friend system.text encoding UTF-8 get string from bytes, and we will check that it should be ABC. ABC. Okay, so let's just check that those two tests are in fact true. Okay, let's run it. And voila, here is the results. Both of them succeeded. So, okay, we have our scenarios that explain you how you likely are you doing this nowadays, how you likely are optimizing this thing nowadays, and now we will see what Microsoft was proposing to solve this thing. So on that blog post that I start with, they were showing one feature like this. So let's create a new fact, and now we have our public void with C# 11 get bytes from an U8 from a string would be something like this. Okay, so what you'll be doing on that approach is you would assign, for example, to a byte array, let's name it bytes, and then you just go here and you say ABC, the text that you want. Just that. You could do this by assigning to a byte array, by assigning to a read-only span, and it will be just enough doing that. But this caused backlash on the community. A lot of people start complaining about this. Not the same type of backlash like the bang bang operator, that they needed to completely dismiss it, but they needed to rework this thing. And the feedback was really important, because what people were saying is that now if you look into this, it will seem really strange, because remember that I told you that C# by default works with UTF-16. So is this the byte array for UTF-16 or UTF-8, for example, is one valid question when you look into this. What if one day C# needs to also convert, for example, another type of encoding into a byte array, right? All those kind of things seem strange. So what they decided to do was a slightly different approach. So now, instead of defining things like that, what you will be doing is you will add a suffix that you will say, UTF-8. Okay? By signing this with UTF-8, what will happen is that you will know that it needs to convert this into, on that case, a read-only span of byte. Okay? You no longer can assign it to a byte array, but you can assign it to a read-only span, and then you can get those bytes from there. For example, let's do it. To show you that is exactly the same, let's grab this condition here, this assertion, and now let's do bytes dot to array to get my array of bytes, and now the dot should be equivalent to that. Okay, don't worry about those red lines. It's basically Rider that doesn't know this feature yet. Okay, sorry. Let's run it and see if it goes well. Perfect. Green. So this is how we are now approaching things on the latest version. And what does this mean? This means that if you write things like that, you will get an optimized version as if you were doing this, because the compiler will be lowering your code, and I will show you how, while instead of doing something like this. But you get the benefit of having here the explicit text. Now, if you need to change this text, you don't need to do reverse math to get what those bytes mean and then get back into bytes. You just rewrite them here, right? So what I was about to show you is that if this is what you write, what will be lowered is it will be lowered into something like this. Let me just comment this line. Duplicate. So basically what you will have is an array. So it will be lowered to something like this, into an array of bytes. Okay. If you define here a new read-only span of byte, and it receives the array of bytes. Okay. So this is what will be lowered for. Okay. And is this that will give you that performance, but also keep code simple and easy to do. Okay, let's take a look now on a small benchmark that I have ready here on the site. It's a simple benchmark using benchmark.net. If you open it, what I have is basically three options. Let me close this. Option A, where we use the get bytes to get the ABC. Option B, where we use the string literals, the new UTF string literals, and we apply a to array. So we are in the same conditions as this one to show you exactly the same. And one just to show you what happens when you don't invoke this thing and you work directly with read-only span. Okay, it will not be fair, this comparison between this and those two. We'll see why, but is this that I want to show you. So now I will basically go to my terminal and let's start our benchmark. This will take a while, so we'll get back once we have the results. See you soon. Okay, results are back. Let's just recap the options. Option A, we were basically doing the get bytes to a string like you used nowadays. Option B, we will be using UTF-8 String Literals, and from that we'll do the get bytes from there, creating an array. And the option C, we don't do that conversion into bytes, and we'll see the read-only span itself. So here what you can see is that option A and option B have the same memory allocation because we are doing the to array to get those bytes on basically on both. So but you can see that you have twice as performance, right? It's a major improvement on option B, on the new one. Option C, as I told you, is not that fair when compared to the other ones because you are basically using the returning the read-only span only that has been compiled. And but you can see that if you can work with read-only spans, you will take a huge advantage on that. Okay. So this is all that I have to show you today, and I hope that you liked it, that you learned a lot about what is changing on this feature. But above all, what I want you to take away is that it's really important to play with these preview features, either from C# or for .NET, because only in that way we can help to shape the language and the framework that we use every single day. I hope that you liked. I will see you soon, and in the meanwhile, just keep things simple.